They grew up together. They played the same sports, went to the same schools, and now they even teach together. You're listening to DC and DH on the D&D Dynamite 80s. Let's start another one right now. DH, take it away, my friend.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to another episode of D&D Dynamite 80s. I'm DH.
And I'm DC.
And we're here to take another fantastic look back at the 80s. DC, brother, how's your week been?
It's been better now, I think.
Getting better as it goes.
I think we're good. The world is a
I had a rough start there, right?
The world is
and
a
everything works out the way it's supposed to. So,
yeah, no, I'm good. How are you?
That it is. Oh, doing well. Another great week going on here. So we're doing something a little different today. Going into some new territory here. We're trying to. We're going to see how this works out. But we're actually going live on YouTube right now.
We hope.
For the first time. We hope, and everything's working through.
Right.
So we're going to work through that. Yeah, so program's really growing. So this was kind of the next step we decided on.
Yeah, we're trying to grow. That's right.
We're going to try. We're doing something. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but we're going to do something here.
There you go. What's your topic today, man?
Oh, we got a fun-filled show today. Now check this one out, okay? Today we are going to get into music videos, iconic music videos of the 80s. And the thing is, this is not just like looking at just regular, hair metal or whatever videos we're into. This is the iconic videos, the things that kind of really represented the 80s, which was kind of everywhere.
Right.
So that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. We're going to get into the iconic 80s music videos. And I'm going to start us off with one. And this one is probably.
Are we going live on YouTube, by the way?
I'm checking it now. I'm not seeing a feed, but it's showing in the top that we are. So I'm going to check that in just a second as I get a chance to here.
All right.
But it is showing we are live up top. So I'm going to check that out.
I don't know if that's a trick or not.
Well, I'm going to refresh everything and see if we come back in with it. But the one I want to start out with is actually an individual that we interviewed, who has since, unfortunately, has passed away. But Whitesnake, Here We Go Again. What an iconic video with Tony Katan in it.
Yeah. We were in the process of trying to get her on the show, and unfortunately, just a sad scenario there. No, absolutely. She was very iconic in the 80s videos.
Very much an icon and super nice individual too.
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
So
but that video,
that's a good start. Yeah, she very iconic. She was also, I know, on at least one of Rat's album covers.
Yes, and here's the thing though.
Yeah, very popular.
That video kind of set the tone for like the girl on the car type thing. I think we all remember that video.
Yeah. The girls that stick out to you in the videos kind of thing.
Right.
Absolutely.
So I thought that
was a popular trend then.
Yeah, it was. And just that whole 80s feel to it.
Well, and I'm going to go to my next one because that leads me right into what you're talking about. The one that's going to stick out with everybody as well is Legs.
Oh yeah, from ZZ Top. I actually had that one down.
For that for that same kind of situation.
I mean,
the models that were the ZZ Top girls, or that they kept in all the different videos. The same ones that drove around in the car.
Right. Yeah.
Right? That sticks out to you. That's something that's everlasting.
And I had that one down as Sharp Dressed Man as well with ZZ Top.
Yeah,
same thing.
Yeah, same thing. Girls were in it, and
but that's
actually one of the members of the band owns that vehicle.
That's really cool.
I read that.
Yeah, that's really cool. But that's just kind of a feel of the 80s, that feel good and You know, everybody was kind of trying to dress sharp, and you,
Sure.
you remember the parachute pants.
I remember them. I didn't have them, but
I
I
did.
remember them.
I had a pair. Oh
Oh boy,
man.
you were really being the sharp dressed
Hey,
man.
well, yeah,
Now
wore
I
them to
did
the
get
mall.
into like the knitted ties and
Yep, and
members
all of
only
that.
jacket and stuff like that.
Now, I've got one for you that's a little different, but it kind of represented that whole iconic era of the '80s where everybody kind of had their own style, and that's Men Without Hats with Safety Dance. I mean, the way they were
Yeah,
dressed in there and their
yeah,
actions.
yeah. Back in the Middle Ages
Yeah,
and all that. Yeah, yeah. See, because like all these years later, you remember almost to a T and I guess they did that for little hooks.
yeah. I
You
mean,
know, they
and if
probably
you
well, I guess they dressed like that, but they made the video stick out because they went back in that time.
well, and that was kind of that whole scene on that because if you think
Mhm.
about it, look at the artists like Adamant
Mhm.
and how they dress. I mean,
That's exactly right. Yep.
that
And I
was kind
almost
of
put
a
Animat down.
yeah, I had him down. I
Tootie
mean,
Tootie
because
Good
it
Shoes and all that.
yeah, it was kind of that
Because that
iconic.
does stick out to you.
Yeah, because you had so many different styles in the '80s, and everybody just kind of blended styles. So you would have the
You
preps
just took
wearing
off on whatever you want. Yeah, whatever
yeah,
you wanted. You know, there
you
was
know,
just
and it,
different
the-
groups
yeah,
that
and
would pick
depending
up
on the
on
day,
having that idea in their videos as well.
yeah, depending on the day, people would dress all different ways depending on what they were doing and all of that. So it was kind of interesting time back then, I guess, in fashion too.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
absolutely. All of it going on. You
you know,
know, another thing that sticks out to me as I thought about these videos was a lot of them had storylines to them.
all yes,
And a
yes,
couple of that stick out to me would be Love is a Battlefield,
yes.
where
Pat Benatar, yeah,
Benatar got left, got told to leave the house and
yep.
went on her own, all that good stuff, and it
And
just led you through that timeline.
And
And
didn't Cyndi Lauper have one similar to that, like Papa Don't Preach or something?
no, no, no. What was hers?
I
Papa
was
Don't
thinking,
Preach was Madonna.
oh, okay. Maybe that's who I'm thinking of
Yeah,
then.
yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
that's who
yeah.
I'm thinking of.
That was a
Yeah.
storyline one,
Okay, that's
absolutely.
who I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Yep. And
Because a
then
lot of them
Hello,
do. Hello, how are you?
from Lionel Richie,
Yes.
where he was the teacher, with the
Yeah.
blind student,
Yeah. It was,
and it progressed through trying to meet her and,
well,
all this stuff and found out both of them admired each other and all that
and
stuff.
then talking about storylines, you can't leave out Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Well, that was on here.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
mean, that's a major storyline, but you're right. Most of these did have some kind of storyline going on,
Mhm. Mhm.
and it kind of told like a
Not
3 to 4 minute story.
not that Michael Jackson needed any help just because of his talent, of course, but on top of that, he had the iconic videos too.
Yes.
So you got
Oh,
Thriller,
major.
and I had the one I had down for him was Billie Jean
Yes.
because everywhere he
Yep.
walked, it lit up.
Yep. Well,
Remember
you know,
every
yeah, it
step
lit up.
in the video lit up, and that was probably ahead of its time a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and if you really think about it, if you're talking about Michael Jackson, if you look at the contrast between his videos and Janet Jackson's videos,
Hmm.
hers were telling stories too, but it wasn't as theatrical.
Right,
It's more about her dancing and the movement and all of that stuff.
right.
But I mean, it's just really cool to see how these artists took them in different perspectives. And then you had ones where it was a lot of the band, like Van Halen. The one that sticks out to me is their Jump, where they actually showed
Yeah,
like videos from concerts and the hotel room and all that stuff.
right,
So you
right.
had
Yeah, I
that
had
going on
Jump
as
down
well.
here, where they're on stage and actually literally jumps and
Yeah.
does his flip, the
Yeah.
famous flip and all that stuff.
Imagine that he
Yeah,
jumps in the song
because
Jump.
that stuff, like you said, it had a hook to it,
Right.
a
And,
way of getting you to, remember it.
and I'm going to tell you one of the most iconic and one of my favorite videos that tells a story was David Lee Ross' California Girls.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Um,
Another one that I have that I wrote down here was, and I'd read this somewhere, but it got me thinking about it, when I wrote it down again. Um, how the budgets for certain people, they could do a little bit,
right.
obviously, and that's obvious in the footage that you get.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, like Flock of Seagulls, Iran, they're in a studio, like a dance studio place, and they've got like tinfoil wrapped around the camera instead of where you can't see, to try to kind of hide the
Right.
camera.
Had it. Yeah.
But the dance mirrors on the walls as it spins, you can see it's covered over with the aluminum foil.
Yeah.
Or
Isn't it amazing how the different budgets and stuff worked out?
and I had read somewhere about that. Yeah, and the clothing they put, that they went out and bought those outfits that day.
Oh wow.
Like, just out and about, trying to something that would look a little bit different. So
Kept the
they,
tags on and take
yeah,
them back when they're done.
just but stuff like that kind of sticks out.
Yeah, it does. And here's the thing about it. I think one of the reasons these videos stick out so much, if you really think about it, MTV started in the 80s. These were the first
Hmm.
like major
Shot
music
at it. Yeah,
videos coming out.
right.
Yeah, and the shock value of all of it. I mean,
Sure.
uh, I'm looking at like uh John Mellencamp's Jack and Diane, iconic song.
Yep.
The music video, yeah, it
Well,
was okay.
it was some home video.
Yeah, it was. I mean, and that kind of made it cool. But
Yeah.
then you turn around and you look at the ones like
Small
Motley.
town, personal.
Yeah. But then you look at like Ozzy's Bark at the Moon or
Right.
Motley Crue's Girls, Girls, Girls. I mean,
Hmm.
and you see the more elaborate on the stage and all that. But the one video that I remember seeing as one of the first videos ever on MTV was Mickey by Tony
Oh
Basil.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You remember that? I mean, that was like,
Yep.
I think that was one of the first ones we actually saw, right?
Oh, absolutely. No
So,
question about it. So
and,
of
and
course those are going to stick out to you.
and the thing was, MTV kind of started right before we got cars and stuff. So,
Hmm.
like, I remember on Friday nights we would hang out and watch music videos because
That's
when
right.
it first came in, because we were amazed number one, TV was on all night long. Imagine that.
Right. Didn't go off at midnight or
Yeah.
11 o'clock or whatever
And number two,
normal
you
channels
eventually
did. Yeah.
you eventually got tired of
The
watching the
public
same
channel. Yeah.
sports center over and over. So,
Right. Right. They went out on a limb and tried to change the
yeah,
TV history there a little bit.
but it
Speaking of Motley Crue, the ones that I kind of put it under a category where it was kind of like wasn't quite there yet, of like the production,
right.
and that's why it stuck out to me, is because it's kind of funny if you catch it, the little things that happened in it, but like the fight scene
Yes.
in Too Young to Fall in Love, where they throw the bag at the guy and he grunts, and
Right.
the little karate moves, and where they got sound effects
Yeah, it was a
with
little
it,
bit of
and
WWE
it's
meets
not matched
Batman.
up. Yeah, it's not a so great song, and
But
the video ended up being iconic because of something like that,
right, and
where it's kind
that's
of
the cool
funny. It's
one.
kind of and he spits out the rice and he throws it at him, and but the little vocal parts, little sound effects in the background during the little fight scene is something that sticks out to you.
It's kind of like Twisted Sisters. We're not going to take it. If you really pay
Exactly.
close attention, their mouth and the words are just a little bit off, but
Right.
it's a rocking video.
Right. But and that's like where, he crashes out the window
Yeah.
and all that stuff. So there's no question. I think a lot of these
Excuse
artists
me.
had in their mind, well, we got a good product, we got a good song, but we also want to make it kind of iconic visually for people to
Right. And
remember it.
that's kind of, if you really think about it, I guess before MTV, everybody really focused in on the song. But
Okay.
after MTV, I mean, you remember in the 80s, everybody was talking about the video. Have you seen the video? Have you seen the
Right.
video?
Right. It started becoming a competition, just not on the billboards,
Yeah.
you
It
know,
was like
on the
a whole
radio
new
and stuff.
marketing
Yeah.
thing.
Now you were trying to compete. I think a lot of them were trying to compete against each other in the video world of it too.
Right.
And then, like we've heard from a couple of our guests, that wasn't a big deal to them. You know, they
Right.
did it,
Right.
but
They
it was
did it
more
as a
about
promotion.
it was, yeah, and it was, but to them, the music is, and I get that.
Yeah.
That's
That
being
was
the
more
professional that you are.
Yeah, that was more of a marketing ploy for them than it
Sure.
was actually,
You know, and
this is
I
an
would say some of them
artistic
had
thing.
better experiences than others with it too.
Oh, yeah,
You know, like
definitely.
this is junk. This is ridiculous. You know,
And
we
I
bet.
would say from some of the artists we've talked to, I would say some of them probably didn't put forth a whole lot of effort. They kind of went through the motions of the video.
Right. Right.
So
Just went through the motion
it's
of it.
kind
Yeah.
of that,
Yeah. Because
okay,
they're into the songwriting. You know, a lot of
right.
those guys are more. You know, it's
Oh,
about. You
yeah.
know, I don't want to make fun of our music or whatever. You know,
Right. But
we're
it's like a commercial. It's a marketing
e-
ploy.
exactly
The
something
song
they
is
had to do.
what we're really selling, the music.
Sure. Sure.
Um, one of the ones that stuck out because it used animation. And I think it was one of the first ones to do that was the Dire Straits, "Money for Nothing."
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
Because
glad you mentioned that because another one with the animation stuff too. And it's a well known song too. I guess that's what helped it. But the Take on Me,
yeah, yeah,
you know, where
yep. I actually have that
they
one
get
down
into the
too.
newspaper article or the
And
comic newspaper comics.
it was kind of funny to watch because if you go back and look at these, and I didn't realize it at the time, but there was kind of like a style that kind of
Mm-hmm.
took over. Like you had the
Mm-hmm.
theatrical, and you had a bunch of them come out. Then you had the ones where it was just the band kind of playing and live concert clips, and all of those came
Sure.
out. And then you kind of went to the okay, let's build in some animation.
Right.
And then it kind of flipped back to the storytelling. So it was kind of like different avenues of the videos
Yeah.
that was going on. Um, and then you had like Prince 1999, Little Red Corvette, and all that. It's just, and I know it was a marketing ploy, but now I have to wonder now if that's what really built a lot of the 80s charisma type activities, because people that didn't see him in concert actually saw the artist, saw the way they were dressed, which influenced what they wore. And that's a lot of the iconic 80s was from the music and the styles.
True. True.
So I just have to wonder if music videos played more of a part than we all realized back in the day, because we would watch it, but it wasn't really something we're like, oh, we got the new videos coming out, we got to see this. No,
Right.
it was more like, hey, they got a new album dropping, let's get it and listen to it. And the videos are kind of secondhand. But now, if you really think about it, I wonder how much influence the videos had on it. I know I wore my red parachute pants in the mall.
There you
It,
go.
it's a wonder the way those things fit if we didn't have more fires from people's legs rubbing together going through the mall.
Friction time.
Yeah. So if I had to ask you your number one all time iconic favorite music video of the 80s, what would it be?
Man, that's tough.
It is tough. I've got one
Go
I've
ahead
really got
while I
two.
do some more thinking.
The first one, and these are going to shock you because I was more of the metal person, but the B-52's Love Shack, that video is just hilarious. And that song just pumps you up. I don't know
Right.
why.
Right.
So I had that one. And then I guess my all-time favorite, or what I consider one, I don't know if it'd be all-time favorite, but Bangles Walk Like an Egyptian.
Yep.
And I think it was because it was the Bangles. Not to
Right.
walk like the Egyptian.
Yeah. Just be honest. Yeah. 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 Yeah, absolutely. You know, but yeah, like you said, well, you know, we can't leave them out. You know, like the Go
No.
Go's, Lips Are
Yeah.
Sealed, where they're cruising around in the convertible,
Yep.
you know, and they
I
get
mean,
into the water fountain, and All
And I
that
think
stuff
that's
kind of sticks with you.
I think that's another thing. You were talking about how some of these told stories, but it was all relevant to what was going on, I guess, in teenage life in the 80s or whatever. It was all kind of focused on that.
Yeah.
So, except for Thriller, I don't think we all went out and found werewolves or whatever.
No, or went to the graveyards and stuff like that. But
Uh,
no, you're right. Because and then some of them were set around like teenager hangouts like
yeah,
whatever movie theater.
right.
Some of the backgrounds would be like or storylines would be with that involved in it. Schools, high schools in the backgrounds, or classrooms were used in videos. You're right,
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
that's the group that they were affecting.
yeah, I mean, and that was a smart marketing ploy. You're talking about classrooms, smoking in the boys' room.
Right?
That was a big one. Hot for the
Sure.
Teacher, Van Halen.
Sure.
I
Absolutely.
mean, there was several of them in the
Sister
classroom.
Christian.
Sister Christian, her
Uh,
time has come.
apparently.
And then, you can't live out like Poison, Nothing But a Good Time.
Right.
Um, I think Aha's Take on Me, I'm kind of like you on that one. That was kind of an iconic one where
Yep.
they flipped over. So, yeah, I had that one down as well. I meant to say that when you had that one.
Right. Right.
But if you really think about it, most every band in the 80s that was a huge band started putting out music videos.
Yep.
And that
Yep.
that was a major part of preparing for the tour, was getting those music videos out. Or some of them actually used it kind of as a wrap when they did all their footage from on stage,
Right.
which I thought was really cool when you see them playing the auditoriums and everything in the arenas.
Sure.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yep.
Um, so what would you think would be the most rocking video
Rock.
of the 80s? Yes.
Oh man. The one that sticks out, I'll tell you one, I've already mentioned it. The one that's kind of crazy rock and roll kind of thing,
Hmm.
and it had like a famous, well, a very famous comedian in it. Was Round and Round.
Yes.
Just the way the thing was set up, just the way it was played. And now they've even used it in commercials recently. So it's iconic,
Here's one of when you said
which
that,
is
having
crazy.
like this, having like a star in it, this is one that I just thought of,
So it
and I
had
didn't even have this
Milton
one.
Berle in it, right?
Yeah, yeah. Here's one that I just
In a
thought of.
couple of characters. I
Yeah,
think he was
yeah. He
actually a
played several.
man and dressed up as a woman as
Yeah,
well in the
I think
same
he
video.
played several.
Yeah.
Here's one that I didn't even think of till you said that, with a special guest appearance.
Yeah.
Um, the one with Chevy Chase in it and Paul Simon. You can call me Al. I
Oh
will
yeah,
call
yeah.
you Betty. And
Yeah.
Betty, when you call
Yeah.
that
Yeah. Yeah.
video was hilarious.
And I'm still trying to figure out because it was ahead of its time. When, if you'll notice, they got rid of different props and it disappeared.
Yeah,
Like I'm talking about like a bass guitar,
yeah,
a trumpet,
yeah. But the
and
funny, I mean, that
it was like a
video,
little bitty. I don't. Was it like a what was it like
it
a
looked like
drum in front of it or
a
something?
drum. Yeah, it was a little
Yeah.
drum. One of those like a conga drum or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was in front of them. Yeah,
But it would totally disappear.
yeah.
However way
But
they did that back
I
in that
mean,
time was
that
already. I would say that was ahead of its time.
that video was so simple. It was just the two of them in a chair mouthing the song, but it was so funny to watch.
On
Now,
on the live feed.
yes, and I'm going to tell you one other thing that was a video in the 80s
Yep.
that I just thought of, was Rapping Rodney by Rodney
Oh gosh,
Dangerfield.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, and there you go. Since we're on that, of course, Eddie Murphy did his
Oh
video
yeah, yep,
with
Eddie
his song.
Murphy.
Yeah.
Yep, he
So
did
some of
his.
them, even some comedians got into the game
Weird Al
with
Yankovic.
videos.
Yeah,
Oh,
Weird
was a
Al was
master of it.
huge back then. Yeah.
I mean,
I
he was
mean,
the all-time master of that
oh yeah.
for comedians.
And his videos were hilarious because
Sure they were.
kind of spoofed the videos of the songs he was doing.
Exactly.
And I mean,
And
it
that
was just
obviously would
hilarious.
stick out to you.
And back
Like a
then,
surgeon,
yeah.
with the
Yeah.
heart's flopping
The
around on the
surgeon.
floor, and it's just
Or instead of beat it, it was eat it. Just
right,
eat
right.
it.
And he gets bigger in it, and
Yeah. I mean, it was
iconic stuff.
it was funny.
Yeah.
It was funny.
On the live feed, are you seeing somebody mentioning dancing on the ceiling?
Ah, dancing on the ceiling.
You didn't see
Okay.
that on your end?
No, I haven't seen that. You must have the chat because I'm not seeing it. Let me see if I can get into it. So dancing on the ceiling, yes, Lionel Richie.
Because they actually had people literally on the side of the walls and all that, however way they did it.
Yep, that's awesome. That is awesome. That was really cool.
So dancing on the ceiling.
And there's one just came in, Born in the USA by Bruce Springsteen. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. That was more of just a I guess that hometown feel for that song.
Right.
That was pretty cool. So yeah, a lot of good ones, a lot of memories right there.
Right.
Flowing back into the 80s. I mean, there's just so many different videos there that we could talk about. This show could go on for hours.
And we wouldn't cover them all.
But you still didn't give me your favorite video of all time.
That's a tough one.
That is tough. We haven't even mentioned like artists like Bryan Adams.
To be honest, right. But to be honest with you, the one that I look up from time to time is which one is it by Journey, where they're actually like kind of playing on the dock down by the warehouses and all that. Very popular song, and now it's lost my mind. I've lost it.
Yep, I know which one you're talking about. I can't think of the name of it.
Separate Ways.
Separate Ways. Yep.
That's
I like that one. And when the lights go down in the city.
Mm-hmm. But Separate Way, they because it's so 80s.
Yep, it has that 80s.
I think
feel.
that's the one that sticks out to me. It's because they're lip syncing it into the right at your face. They're not really playing their instruments, and they actually they kind of pretend and make it comical. Like the drummer is on the steel steel drums.
Yep,
they're on the dock. And then like the keyboardist. He's got his keyboard on a forklift.
Yeah.
And of course Neil, the lead guitarist, he's not even plugged up. He's got his guitar, but he's not even plugged up. So there you go.
So they're having some fun with it.
Yeah, exactly.
I think one of the most iconic ones, and probably one of the good one to kind of end on here, is Motley Crue's "Home Sweet Home."
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how they ended their shows and everything. And what an iconic song, and what a video, when it shows them in the stadiums and stuff singing it and everybody responding. I mean, that was an 80s moment.
Right.
That was a true 80s moment.
Right.
But yeah, there's a lot we didn't even mention today. Excuse me. There's a lot of them we didn't even mention today. We could do a whole nother show on this. But
absolutely.
I mean, there's bands we didn't even mention. I mean, just tons and tons and tons of videos. It's like every song that came out, there was a video. But just the iconic nature of the videos from the 80s. When you look at videos today, which I don't look at many of them, it's pretty much all the same. But when you go back and you look at the ones from the 80s, you see stories, you see live concerts, you see animation. It was just a different time of creativity.
No question.
So I think So I think DC on that one, I think that's going to kind of wrap up our first live show. What do you think, brother?
I think we did a pretty good job.
I think it went pretty smooth for the first time going live with
And
this.
we'll see, when we see,
we're going to look
we'll
at
run it back and see what's going on.
run
with
through
it. But it's all in good fun anyway.
Well, let's tell the folks before we get out of here. I'm gonna let you tell the folks what we got coming up, and then I'll touch on where they can find us at, and then we'll throw it over to you for the closing.
Absolutely. Glad you mentioned all that. Yeah, next week we've got Sky Compson, who is a singer from Australia. She'll be joining us.
Looking
Here's what's
forward to
pretty
that
cool
one.
about that. She is 16 and a half hours ahead of us. So we'll be talking to her like at 11:30 on a Friday morning to her,
Mhm.
or Thursday morning, excuse me. And it will be Sunday evening or Wednesday evening. I'm on this. Wednesday
It's gonna be
evening to us.
something.
Yeah. So hopefully, in other words, I hope we can make that one work.
Yeah, we'll make it work.
Yeah. She'll be on there. So anyway, we got her next week. And then December 7th, excited about the tribute show for Leonard Skinner.
Yes,
And already promoting that a little bit.
that's
as
going to
you
be
can
awesome
tell.
show. Going to be an awesome
Yeah,
show.
fantastic. And we got a great lineup of people that's going to join us on that deal. So that's December 7th, live, hopefully. And that'll be a 7 p.m. Wednesday.
Yep.
Next week with Sky, that's a 7 p.m. Wednesday. And then the week after that, December 14th, we have Diane Franklin rejoining us.
Yes. Oh, I'm looking forward to that. She's hilarious.
Yeah,
she's an amazing person. Amazing
She's
individual.
great. So she's excited, and we are too, about having her back.
Yes.
Checking in on all her new things she's got going on.
Yes. She stays busy. She doesn't stop.
Very busy. Very busy person. Yes.
So, folks, you can check us out on Anchor, Spotify, Radio Republic,
Right.
Google Podcast. You can also check us out on YouTube channel, D&D Dynamite 80s, on Twitter, D&D Dynamite 80s, Facebook, D&D Dynamite 80s. Check out our website, D&D Dynamite 80s. And now we're moving into live YouTube. So not only can you watch us on recording, but you can see this handsome face live. So,
or you can get off seeing, you can do something else.
Or you can log out quickly. All right, DC, as I throw it over to you, I'm gonna end off as I do every week, folks. Remember, it doesn't cost anything extra to be kind, so always be kind to each other.
Yes, sir.
DC, take us home.
Yes, sir. We would like to thank our sponsors, Hudson's Flags and More, better known and operated. Also, the Nesting Project of Smyrna, Tennessee. We appreciate all their support. Check them out online. Yes.
All right, brother, another good one. I'm going to toss it over to you for final thoughts.
Yeah. Enjoyed reminiscing about these 80s videos.
Yes.
That's for sure.
Very much so.
And you can still see some of that stuff.
Yes.
You don't have to go to YouTube. No, I'm serious. You can, Pluto TV is the free TV streaming you can pull up. And it's got 80s 24/7. They got a 80s music channel that plays them. And matter of fact, I think I have it on. And I just, from time to time, I'll just flip it over there if nothing's going on and reminisce and watch a few of the oldies.
There you go.
So
all right,
there
folks.
you go. Check that out, folks.
Until next time.
Pluto.
Till next time, folks, which will be Wednesday, December 7th.
No, next week, November 30th.
Next week. Next week, November 30th. That's right. See, I was paying a lot of attention. So next week, December or November 30th.
We got November 30th, December 7th, and December 14th.
And we're going to go live on all of those as well. So you can see them live, or you can watch the recording, or you can watch it live and watch the recording. So until next week,
several times.
Yes. Yeah. Until next week, keep rocking the 80s, folks.
See you guys.